Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. You're welcome to today's edition of Morning Spring. Morning Spring is your daily breakfast news and current affairs program where we look at everything important. Definitely, issues of public importance is what we discuss. We look into here with different angles, different opinions at this place at this time, 7 a.m. every weekday, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you into this place today. When I mean this place, this program today, Femi Ojo is my name, and of course, exigencies and work routine, Evelyn, if time permits, I'll get to join in on the program later, but then doing everything well to support this program from the sidelines. And on this program, we look at the papers, the headlines, different headlines from major dailies every day. And of course, at the other side of that, we then get talking about these issues, and we are going to be looking into that. It's a bumper ride this morning, bumper harvest, kind of. By the way, it's still hot the holidays today, especially in Nigeria. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday today is a national public holiday, definitely to celebrate the Eid al-Fitr festival. So Ramadan Kareem. By the way, this is the last of those days for you to hang out, celebrate, pray, unwind. And by the way, by tomorrow officially work starts. It was a blast in some parts of the country yesterday. Yeah, the economic situation maybe played a part. Many might have wanted to celebrate more than they did yesterday, something better, bigger, but then the pocket, your bank account balance, is the real SI unit when it comes to the decision maker to how big, many persons celebrated their Eid al-Fitr. So when there is life, there is hope. Life is the most sacred thing. In many parts of the country yesterday, the Islamic faithfuls went to different Eid praying grounds in Abuja, in Lagos. The president had his in his home state of Lagos, right there at the Dodam Barracks. Yesterday was joined by different dignitaries in those prayers. The vice president had his own in his home state of Borno. I'm talking about Kashim Shettima. He was joined by the state governor there, Baba Gana Zulum, and many others as well. And it's done once a year, so it's worth doing everything you do for it. But then in the middle of all that, some occurrences happen, and we're going to be looking into that. By the way, the messages churned out by different leaders is about peace, it's about perseverance, it's about tolerance, and it's about hope, especially coming from Mr. President. Yes, things are not the way we would have wanted it to be, but the president is saying we are working, we are making progress, albeit slow, but then Nigerians should be rest assured that he's doing his best with his team to make sure Nigeria gets better. And of course, but sacrosanct in all the messages released by different dignitaries, traditional rulers, political leaders, government officials, is that message of peace. Let's be peaceful. Let's be peaceful. Peace and peace. By the way, and again, moving away, we received two news that is not too palatable. They just completed or renovated, by the way, Third Mainland Bridge. That is the long bridge that connects the island with the mainland in Lagos. There was an accident yesterday in which it was so severe that one or two persons lost their life, and in fact, a particular vehicle was flung, into the lagoon, and it was a sad situation. I mean, persons are asking, Why? Is it excessive speed? Is it brake failure? Is it now that the bridge has been, renovated and, finishing touches put on it? Many persons are happy with the state of Third Mainland Bridge right now, but it's not a license for people to go reckless for whatever has happened yesterday. Life is very sacred. But then, between Delta State and Anambra yesterday, the Niger River, it wasn't just for the beauty of the ocean. It's because of what happened with a Nollywood actor, Pope Jr. He went on the river for a production. He even did a video before the sad incident happened, and we heard that he lost his life. It has been confusing since yesterday because many persons said maybe he wasn't dead, maybe he's dead, and many reports. And but the situation is, please, whatever we do, this is not victim shaming or something. Let's make sure we do whatever we have to do so that even if incidents happen, it will be said that it's not because you're reckless or something. When people go on river, go on oceans, speedboats or normal canoe or ship, even people in the ship sometimes, if they're outside of the confines of the rooms or whatever, even in yacht, the moment you get out and you have there's a propensity for you to have contact with water, you put on life jacket. And this is very sacrosanct. We should begin to live as people, who should be responsible. But then it's a skirmish, quite a confusing situation right now. You don't even know what is what. At the end of the day, yesterday, it was said that he is dead, and his death has really thrown the entertainment industry into turmoil. But then we will monitor the situation. Many things to learn from it, the way we respond to issues, many persons having the knowledge of what to do in a particular circumstance. Because we learned yesterday, maybe he didn't die immediately. There was no CPR. Many persons tried to help in their own way, and that help wasn't even helpful. When you drag people from their head and their legs just because you want to help, it should be the way to hospital. You didn't do that. Many things to really talk about, but please, in everything we do, let's stay alive. The papers are in. We take this break right now. When we return, we look at what the papers are saying. Different headlines. You don't want to miss it. Stay still. Quickly, to what the papers are saying today, have a couple of them, and of course, the Daily Times. Daily Times, I will start in with that paper. Tinubu to Nigerians: remain patriotic, love, defend Nigeria's integrity, as what is written boldly on the front page of the Daily Times. And of course, the writer says, renewed hope agenda being diligently implemented. Renewed hope agenda being diligently implemented. And of course, that picture there shows the incident I was painting earlier when the crash happened, and one or two persons, were flunked into the lagoon. That must have been a very great impact. Please don't let us be reckless. Manage your speed. Even if you see an expressway that looks tempting for you to finish your speedometer, in a manner of speaking, please make sure you do whatever you have to do. There was loss of life here, fatality needlessly, albeit by the way. Eid al-Fitr, ACF expresses worry over deteriorating standard of living. That's Arewa Consultative Forum. They're expressing worry over deteriorating standard of living and calls for more effective policy response. Bottom strip, there will be no room for criminal-minded travelers in ISCG. That's Immigration Service Controller General speaking there. Top strip, Kaduna's huge debts. PDP calls for probe of ex-governor El-Rufai. It seems trouble, is brewing there in Kaduna State, talking about politics, politically speaking now, because we learned there was these, release made by the Kaduna State Governor, Ubasani, where he said he would have done more, but then he's trying his best. Though there is a huge debt in Kaduna State, and then, you know, his predecessor and the predecessor's camp, as El Rufai's camp, are not having it to say, why would you do that, by the way, and say that, but it's about responsibility. You shouldn't be complaining. In fact, one of the El Rufai's sons spoke on the matter and tried to say, you did everything, you wanted every help, you sought every help, and you got it to become governor. Why are you complaining now? It comes, in as much you are enjoying the paraphernalia of office, you should enjoy the liabilities as well, not just only the assets. Moving on. Salah Sultan urges Muslims to seek knowledge and pray for leaders. Kogi bandit attack. We have arrested some suspect. Kogi bandit attack. We have arrested some suspect. That's good to know. And Okwama killings. Military Board of Inquiry commences city in Warri. Please let this be done quickly and, you know, within the confines, taking every needed angle into consideration, because this is one case that many Nigerians want to see the bottom of it. By the way, moving on to The Guardian. The Guardian newspaper is next. Conscience nurtured by truth. NSAS Pro Panel report. Victims await 1.7 billion naira compensation from 25 states 3 years after. You know what happened? That's in 2020. The situation at Lekki Tollgate and every other, many parts of the country as well, in which there was fisticuffs and many persons, even before that October 28th situation in 2020, many persons have been complaining about police's, some members of the police force brutality and high-handedness, which really now degenerated to the notorious NSAS that we talk about. Victims await 1.7 billion compensation from 25 states 3 years after. And of course, the insert of these speeches is said there as that of the president, Radiant Lagos, and of course, the vice president on the flank. He has the state governor there, his own state governor, that's Babangida Zulum of Borno State. Many things at that particular place yesterday at different parts of the country to commemorate the end of the holy month and the festival, Eid al-Fitr. Moving on, we refuse to move on. 91 Chibok girls' parent tells Tinubu's wife, seek intervention. We are now moving on. You know, many of them, you know, carted away. Many of them were, you know, brought back during former President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure, and some of them are still there. And the parents of those ones are saying, we are not moving on. And of course, chief among them, or very popular, is Leah Sharibu, still in abductors' den. At Salah, Tinubu, Buhari orders seek resilience, support, peace, and unity. Newspeak 3 has that, and EFCC's fresh charge links Emefiele to Lagos firms. FX crisis, poor infrastructure, depressed healthcare sector earnings. And Pilgrim's palliative, between personal religious right and misplaced state priority. News analysis, page 4 has that. That's one that should interest many persons to say, okay, the support being given by different state government or the federal government to people that want to go on pilgrimage, is it really worth it? Can we afford that at this time? Shouldn't that be a private, you know, adventure, even in as much it has been done in the past, but with a peculiarity at this time, can we really fund that? News analysis, page 4 of The Guardian has that. Moving on, price of goods not reducing amid naira appreciation. Accord party tells federal government. Yeah, yes, gains are being made, especially the naira against foreign currencies. Chief among that is naira against dollar. We're appreciating. It was 1.918 in February. Now is less than 1,200 or thereabout, but it's not showing yet in the price of commodity in the market. That's what the Accord party is telling the federal government. And Malabu case EFCC dismisses compromise allegation, considers appeal. And tragic Sala, that's written in red. Monarch dies. Reckless driver flings 2 passengers into Lagos Lagoon. Said that earlier, please let's be calm. And you see that particular headline says, reckless driver fling 2 passengers into Lagos Lagoon, rather. That's sad. By the way, the Punch is next. The Punch newspaper is my next point of call. And it says, Eid al-Fitr, defend Nigeria, support leaders, Tinubu, Buhari urge citizens. That's on the front page of the Punch. Defend Nigeria, support leaders, Tinubu, Buhari urge citizens. And by the way, you will remember that a few days or few weeks ago, the president was saying when he was joined by some persons at the breaking of fast right there at the villa, he said, don't curse this nation. Don't say bad things about this nation. The nation is beautiful. Whatever challenge the nation might be facing, don't say bad things about the country. Maybe that's what he means by saying, defend Nigeria. Although many Nigerians will say, please defend us as well. Protect us from abductors, from kidnappers, from armed robbers, you know, from every kind of attacks, and the feeling will be mutual. Rider says, let's protect Nigeria's integrity. Tinubu appeals to Nigerians. Support for leaders, a vote for better tomorrow, says Buhari. That's still on the front page of the Punch newspaper. And of course, the picture from different Eid praying grounds right there yesterday. NAFDAC orders recall of toxic cough syrup. Okay, I think there should be more education and orientation on this so that people will know that particular cough syrup, and so they wouldn't want to buy it, because many of them might have find its way to the nooks and crannies, villages, communities, you know, that those people might not have this information. So they should make that particular announcement and orientation go further beyond just the pages of newspaper or social media. Ondo Amotekun nabbed 14 suspected kidnappers, 31 others. And Olubadan designates health. Ladoja faults Otun Balogun. Makinde says no crisis. By the way, that is a high and revered tool of Olubadan. You know, some back and forth on the matter about the health situation of the Olubadan designate, and former Oyo State Governor Raji Chief Ladoja as well, Adewolu Ladoja, Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja, who is one of the top-ranking high chiefs in Ibadan, is saying, you know, he's faulting the Otun Balogun on this matter. And the state governor is saying, no crisis, everybody calm down. Top strip of the Punch has this: electricity tariff. Federal government plans 1.5 trillion naira savings, 2.5 million meter installations. Okay, we'll be talking about that in the course of the program. Matters arising, especially in the power sector, is an ongoing conversation, and then we'll be speaking with a particular company's representative, especially in the distribution line of electricity in Nigeria. Fresh borrowings may push Nigeria's debt to 111 trillion naira. That's huge. And cash crunch hits CCB state offices. Asset verifications face hurdles. This is one office that should not really lack funding because it's about accountability, probity. That's Code of Conduct Bureau state offices, you know, lacking cash. Okay. Away from the Punch, we go to the Nation newspaper. The Nation is next, and our diesel price caught driving down inflation, says Dangote. Diesel price caught driving down inflation, says Dangote. Many persons would like to know, you know, the price right now, especially as Dangote company are saying their diesel price caught, you know, is driving down the inflation situation. Would like to know, because at these part of the country, it's a hovering around 1,300, 1,390 or thereabout. Would like to know the official rate from Dangote company. Moving on, riders rather, entrepreneurs should work with the government. Abiodun economy rather on recovery path. People will want to see, not just to hear, not just for you to tell them when it is getting better. We all know, but it's good that they are talking about it. And just above that, Kwara Mon's ex-appeal court Justice Begore and police rescue 6 abducted kids. Justice Begore, foremost erudite, iconic person, especially we talk about the bar and the bench, especially the bench as well. He was former appeal court Justice Begore. These are persons that have laid down their mark in their chosen course of career, that's law. Okay, and I think he should be accorded every tribute and every accolade that he deserved, especially what he has done while he was alive. One of the pictures has Salah visit to the president. That's Mr. Femi Ojo Evelyn there paying Salah homage to the president in Lagos, and government to firm up non-oil revenue plan. And of course, just below that picture is another one that has the president, former President Tinubu, flanked on the right by former Osun State Governor Adegboyega Oyetola, who is Minister for Marine and Blue Economy, and of course, at the other side, I think that's James Abiodun Falike there. Okay, moving on away from that, all those pictures has to do with the Eid al-Fitr celebration. Below that, Amotekun arrests 45 suspects for alleged kidnapping. Others in Ondo believe in our government. Tinubu urges Nigerians. President, Vice President, Sultan, others observe Eid prayers. All right, and top strip, Eid al-Fitr day tragedies. Lagos monarch, ex-governor, ex-Kogi governor's son die after prayer. 2 flung into lagoon in Third Mainland bridge crash. 3 die in Lagos-Ibadan highway accident. Makinde cautions against disunity over Olubadan's stool. Military begins probe of Okwama killings in Warri, and to the last one for this morning. And that will be the Vanguard newspaper. The Vanguard newspaper for today. Tariff high. 20 hours supply for Band 8 customers under threat. By the way, if you have been following social media and conversation, especially with the recent hike in tariff and the categorization of different customers into different bands, A, B, C, D, E, many persons with the kind of power supply they have in their area, they've been asking, what kind of band are we on? You see, some say it's abandoned, in as much as that band or bandit, on a lighter note. But many persons don't even know the band in which they belong, because what they are having as supply, I'm not sure if it is bandable at all. But then, just like I said, we'll have that conversation later on in the program. Riders here, as power allocation hovers at 3,236 megawatts. Interesting there. We thought it was around 4,000 or 5,000 megawatts, but it seems we are doing below 4,000 at the moment, far below 4,000 at the moment. PH Disco apologizes for shortfall. That's Port Harcourt Disco. Kaduna Disco set up response teams. No transparency, fairness in billing. CPPE. Firms will pay for the services they don't enjoy. LCCI. Interesting. An expert expects improvement in supply. We all do. We don't have to be experts to expect. We all do, so that we can pay, not just to pay, but enjoy quality, value for payment, value for money. Moving on, at Eid prayers in Lagos, the pictures are there. Away from that, at Eid prayers in Sokoto, you can see the state governor there in the company of the Sultan, and of course the supreme leader of the Islamic faithfuls in Nigeria, the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sahad Abubakar, right, and Governor Ahmad Ali of Sokoto during the Eid al-Fitr prayer in Sokoto. Moving on, Inquiry. Okwama community shuns military panel for Koloba in attendance. Okay, we learned the seating has started or will be starting in Warri. Everybody should have their say and their day without fear or, intimidation. PDP neck meeting, governance, others renew battle for party's soul. Really? It's a D-Day and everybody wants to have an hand or have their say, have their interest protected in party. Now talking about the People's Democratic Party. Fair Court. Airpeace chair Onyema slants foreign airlines over conspiracy. Of course, so many persons will say it is what it is. But you want to play with in the big league, you must be ready to do whatever it takes, albeit through the confines of the law. Idefitri, our security improving. Federal government declares. Is that the case, Nigerians? Is our security improving? Okay, Nigerians will be the judge of that. And Edoguba, my impeachment won't stand. Shaibo, that's the impeached deputy governor of Edo State, Comrade Philip Shaibo, alleged defamation. Beta Edo threatens to sue BBC. Next, no cause for alarm on next Olubadan. Makinde, of course, and sport. Wardrum wants Nigeria over Olympic preparations. Okay, the coach of the Super Falcons, who have just qualified for the Paris Olympics, is well in talking. Let's do whatever we have to do on time. All the best to Mr. Wardrum and the ladies as they fly. By the way, their group is what could be tagged a group of death, because in their group you have Japan, former world champion, you have Brazil, former world champion, you have Spain, the current world champion, and then you have the Super Falcons. Many persons will say, they need all the luck they can get. That's quite a group. But then the ladies did well at the last World Cup, so let the Falcons fly and fly very high. And lastly, on a lighter note here, Mr. and Mrs., my mom called. She said I sounded frail over the phone, that I must have lost weight. That is coming from Mrs. My mom called. She said I sounded frail over the phone, that I must have lost weight. And Mr. responds, I'm not surprised. If she's still using that old, cheap, and lightweight phone, everything she does with it becomes weightless. Really, it is the quality of the phone that determines, whoever you see or hear on that phone. That's a nice one from Mr. on this matter. And that will be all from the front page of different major dailies for today. We take a break right now. And when we come back, we speak to the power situation. And we speak to the information officer of a major distribution company when it comes to power here, and stakeholders as well, how it is affecting homes, businesses, especially at this time, and of course, the distribution companies themselves. And we have, all these put together. It will be a very interesting one. So just stay with me, or I'll be back after this break. All right, thank you for joining us again. I've said it before the break that the conversation is about the past situation, and many persons are finding it difficult, especially since the announcement of the tariff hike. And we learned, okay, it was just going to affect a particular band, that's band A. Many persons say, okay, who are those on band A? Maybe the premium, quote unquote, premium consumers of light, 18-20 hours per day. But many persons will say, do we still have those really at this time? And very importantly, many persons will know how this categorization was made and where they affect. And we'll be speaking largely to issues happening here in Osun State, and we have critical stakeholders that will speak to these issues as well, virtually and physically as well at different points in time. But I studied the other time that in order to provide support from the side and make sure we have a good program, that's why I started alone. But at this time, Evelyn is there.
Good morning, Femi, and thank you for piloting the affairs without me earlier.
You're welcome.
Welcome, people. It's good to be here, and it's good to have you on board. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Let's roll.
Of course, we are being joined, just like I said, by the way, talking about power in Nigeria. We have the generation part, the transmission part, and of course, the distribution part. One of the distribution company is represented here this morning by the senior communication officer, talking about Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, popularly called IBEDC. She's here this morning. She is the senior communication officer for the Osun region, and is here, Mrs. Kikelomo Owoeye. She joins us virtually. Ma'am, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. I'll say good morning to everyone.
All right.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah.
All right. And very quickly, we delve straight into the matter. There's many persons have questions on their mind. Many persons have clarification that they need to make, especially in as much the IBEDC, the organization in which you speak for, is the one distributing power for the good people of Osun State and its environs, by the way. But we are focusing on more on what is happening here in Osun State. And let me ask, generally speaking, the power situation in Osun State, and that's why we are focusing more here, has deteriorated, has really gone erratic. Especially, let me be categorical. For example, in Osogbo, in fact, Osogbo has been the signature of all eyes when it comes to power supply in the past. Even people in other cities, Port Harcourt, Lagos, they always envy when you have conversation with them. Oh, Osogbo, you guys are special. But for some months now, the reverse has been the case. You are the one in charge. I'm talking about your organization. What has happened? Let's have a clear view of what the situation has been, especially at this time, because it's more like dropping from a 10 to a 1 or a 2. So, ma'am, what has happened before we go into the nitty-gritty of the conversation?
Okay, thank you very much. About the poor power supply that has been experienced in the recent times, I want to apologize to all our esteemed customers for that. It's not something that is intentional or Osogbo or Osun is being isolated from the challenges that we're going through about the poor power supply. It has to do with the low load generation from the generating companies that we have in Nigeria. It's due to the decrease in gas from the national grid, which affects all the discos in Nigeria. I would like to delve a bit into the electricity value chain. We have 3 value chain, which the generation company, popularly called Genco, is one, and they are the ones that produce the energy that we use generally across Nigeria, and they are more than 20 in number. And we have the transmission company of Nigeria, then the National Control Center, which is situated in Osogbo in Osun State here, which actually is the reason for Osogbo, particularly in Osun State, that we enjoy power supply more than any other state across the 36 states in Nigeria. And also the distribution company, we are the discos, and we are what IBEDC happen to be one of the 11 discos in Nigeria. We are the ones that distribute electricity to all the customers across the country. And invariably, it means that if the generation company is not generating energy, we won't be able to distribute electricity to all our customers, so to speak. And as it is now, the generation company is having challenges with decrease in gas. due to the fact that the foreign exchange rate and all of that are the challenges they're experiencing, because gas is one of the major material that is being used to actually produce electricity. So there is a low generation of electricity from the national grid. That is why we've been experiencing the low power supply that we've been experiencing in the recent time. That is the major reason, aside the factors that we have vandalism, which could actually lead to some areas, if there's a power restored to their area, they might not get it because their equipment or the transformer or something has been vandalized. And we have issues of energy theft, we have issues of illicit meter, and all of that could actually lead to it as well. So those are the challenges that we are experiencing presently as a disco generator.
All right. Fair enough. Challenges, by the way, we'll still come to the challenges because I'm sure it's beyond what you have just said. We're just speaking to why these has been. Because many persons are watching right now, even online, on the YouTube page, trying to see the explanation that the IBEDC will give, especially as they are the one distributing power for the good people of Osun State. Now, we talked about the issue with the gas, vandalism, and many issues, by the way. Now, I'd like to ask, some of these things that you talk about, many persons will say, is part of business. Challenges are part of business, and even for SMEs, MSMEs, for even on the large scale, that should the people, your customers, your consumers, should they be the one to bear this brunt? Yeah, the challenges are there. You've spoken to them, and I know that you speak to them when we get to that area. But should they, for somebody watching you right now who says, I'm ready to pay, all I need is the power, you're saying you have challenges, albeit some of them don't even know because possibly they don't have the information. Why should they be the one to suffer for these challenges?
Like I said earlier, I said Osun is not isolated from Nigeria. The issue of decrease in gas is majorly a national issue. And if the generation is not generating, we won't have anything to actually churn out to our people. It's what is being generated that is transmitted to all the discos across Nigeria. So it's a function of the generation is working and the discos will actually receive what they produce. For instance, if a producer of rice is not producing, there's no way the wholesaler will get the product to actually sell to the people. And what we are actually designated to do is to distribute energy gotten from the generation through the transmission company to the people. So if we don't have the energy to actually give to the people from the generation, then we have nothing to give. So the challenges actually have effect on our customers because they are the end users of those products. So there is no way we can cut out, say, Osun from Nigeria. It's a national issue. So, and the federal government and every stakeholders attached to them are already working on it to see how they can actually solve this problem. So that's why it's unlikely that people will not have the effect. We, the discourse, only give what we have and what we get.
All right. Before my colleague comes in here, you talked about if the Gencos, if they don't generate enough, then there is nothing the distribution companies we distribute. But I'd like to confirm from you, because there are some talks in some quarters, especially from experts, that say, yes, our generation is low this morning. Before you came online, I just read it in the papers that we are even doing less than 4,000 megawatts at the moment as a country. Yeah, but some persons have seen there are times that distribution companies intentionally don't take enough from Gencos. They don't buy enough because it's a business, because they feel the people are not really paying. So why should they buy enough power to distribute? These are talks going on in the public space, and that's why we are happy to have you here to clarify these masters, to say, yes, the generation is low, but they are still giving something for the distribution companies sometimes because they feel they are not having value for money or they are not getting enough money from the customers, that they rather take the minimum to distribute to the to the consumers instead of taking what really is needed. Is this what the does IBEDC do this occasionally as well, if you think you are not getting enough value for money from your consumers?
What is actually obtainable is that when they sell energy to us, because as a company as well, we have a meter that is actually measuring what is given to us. At the end of the month, we get our invoice for what has been sold to us. So if the National Grid is saying that they don't have enough energy to give to us, how can we say we want to reject what is even given to us in the first place? There is a record of what we are expecting and what we get. What we normally expect is not what we get in recent times. So how does that come in now? That what we are supposed to get, we are now reducing it.
All right. Connection is just there. We'll try and reconnect because
even actually pay regularly, or they don't pay at all. But that doesn't still stop us from saying that we want to cut out the energy required to our customers. What we expect, because we buy this energy, definitely it's a business. They sell to us, we buy. And what we use in paying back is what the customers had already paid to us. So we expect that when we get the payment, we pay to the GenCo. But as it is, with part of the challenges too, we can actually pay in total, because we have challenges of people who don't pay at all, or people who pay halfway, and people who even try to bypass their meters to shortchange the cost, the company. So with that, we don't reject energy.
all right.
We don't deny our customers if we have the energy. For instance, in Osun, just for example, if we're saying Osun region, we cover part of Ekiti state as well. If we want to actually get energy in time past when probably it was okay, in a day, when we get up to like 100 megawatts or up to more than that, it's not even so much enough, not to talk of now that is reduced, that we get like maybe 40 something and maybe 30 something at worst. So how does rejecting energy comes in? So we don't reject energy. It's what we are giving, what we give out.
All right, Mrs. Owoeye, thank you for that clarification. Now, let's talk about a recent development that actually has been controversial for the past 1 week now. Talk about the over 200%, 201% hike in electricity tariff for the category A consumers. You call them band A customers. Now, I'd like you to give a detailed explanation of these different bands and how consumers actually fall into these bands. Is it something the consumer will say, oh, I want to be in band A, or it is the IBEDC that determine who is in band A and what actually qualifies any customer to be in that particular category? I mean, the different categories I'm talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. About we call it service reflective tariff or service-based tariff. The implementation began in September 2020, when the federal government, through NEC, actually brought it to stay that all our customers should be in different bands. They were categorized into 5 different bands. We have band A, band B, band C, band D, and E. And why that came up was that they wanted all our customers to get value for their money. They don't want customers that are enjoying supply for, say, 20 hours minimum, to be paying the same thing as the customers that are enjoying supply for 12 hours minimum. It will look as if they are being cheated. So they want every customer to pay for what they are actually using to get value for their money. The service reflective tariff, when it began, customers were classified into these different bands based on the hourly availability of their supply. We have some customers where they enjoy supply up to, say, a minimum of 20 hours. It might be more than that, like 24 hours or 23 hours, but the minimum of 20 hours. Those are the customers on Band A. Band B customers are the customers that are enjoying supply for the minimum of 16 hours. And we have customers that are enjoying supply for a minimum of 12 hours on Band C. We have customers enjoying supply for minimum of 8 hours on Band D and the minimum of 4 hours on Band E. These customers, as they have been classified, their tariff rates are also different from one another. Okay. Customers on Band A are definitely paying more than customers on Band B because they are enjoying the supply and their quality of supply is better than those in Band B. Ditto to Band C, D, and E. So that was why the federal government did as a 2020. And about how they are being classified, or how do you determine how they are on that band? It depends on the feeder they belong to. Maybe my feeder thing could be a technical term, but that is the line, the network that supply energy to the particular area where they belong to. We call it feeder. So the feeder feeding their area will be the one to determine, is the feeder feeding their area have the capacity to supply energy for minimum of 20 hours? If it's yes, then they fall onto that part. If what the capacity of the feeder can actually supply is 16 hours minimum, and the customers on that feeder enjoys the supply of 16 hours minimum per day, or on the average of every month. So that is how they are being classified to all other customers on different bands as well. So for every customer that are on each band, it depends on where the customer had already built their own building or they are already living. Okay. So if a customer is living in a particular area, and luckily for him or her, the area happens to be on Band A, then it's his own benefits, or should say his own luck. So it depends on where the customer had already have their building or they are residing. Our own has to do with the feeder feeding that area. Okay. That is, the feeder that is feeding that area, if it has the capacity to actually supply energy for that hour of supply or hour of power supply, then they belong to that area. So it's not for us to just say, we look at this area or we look at the class of people living in this area, we give them this particular band or we give them this particular supply. And since that 2020 that it's been implemented, every customer that is getting their bill, that is the postpaid customers who are receiving bills, have been having the service band written on their bills, and their tariff rate is written on their bills, while the prepaid meter customers are having it on their vending slip. So it has been something that has been existing since 2020, September. So a service reflective tariff is not a new invention or a new idea or a new program that just come to being. Okay. It's just that the tariff rate is being reviewed time after time. There is a multi-year tariff order which we follow time after time.
All right. You said for those in Band A, they have minimum of 20 hours. Those in Band B, 16, C, 12, D, 8, and E, 4. But, you know, customers complain, especially those in Band A, at this time with the close to 300% hike in tariff. They said they don't enjoy up to 20 hours power supply minimum. You say minimum of 20 power supply hours daily. Why is that? In fact, there are some in the other bands that don't even enjoy up to 4 hours in a day. So I'd like you to actually marry the situations and let it make sense to us.
The issue of the power supply challenge probably in the last few months could be what has been contributing to it. But I can say categorically that we have customers that are enjoying the 20 hours. It's not possible that we will say customers are enjoying 20 hours and they are not enjoying it. There's no benefit in that. Our customers that are enjoying the 20 hours will say they are enjoying 20 hours. Out of the power supply challenge we've been having in recent time, despite that, they are still enjoying it. Now, recently, we've started something that for customers that are on band A, that are not enjoying the supply up to minimum of 20 hours, what we do now is we send out an apology notice to them that you're supposed to enjoy to a minimum of 20 hours, but you enjoy so hours in a day. So we apologize. This is the reason that you're getting this. Another thing is there is another provision for them, for customers who are on band A that are enjoying minimum of 20 hours. If they don't get that 20 hours in a day due to some fault or some technical itch, on the following day, if there is no itch, they will get that energy back.
It will be added to the following day. Is that what you're saying? It will be carried over. The one they did not enjoy the previous day will be carried over to the next day. Is that what you're saying?
It will be carried. Let me explain something. Energy cannot be hoarded. It cannot be kept. Okay. Once you generate energy, you can't keep it. It's not like other commodities that when you produce them, you can keep them in store. Once it's produced, you have to push it out. That is energy. For the fact that if there is a fault in some areas, probably there are faults in some areas, be it local fault or general fault, then energy cannot get to that area until the faults are being cleared. Okay. Once they are cleared, the hours that have been missed for that day would actually be made up for the next day with the energy produced. Okay. For those on band A. That is the practice. So
what about the other bands?
On band A, probably they don't know their bands. If they don't know their bands, they should check their bills. Okay. They should then check their bills over time. They'll see service band and they'll see the band they belong to. It's written there. If they see service band, they will see if it's band A, A20H will be written there. For those on band B, it will be B16H. For band C, C12H. And for band D, D8H. And for band E, E4H. So that is how it's been written on it. And for the vending customers, the same thing is written there, and they have their tariff rates will be there as well.
All right. I would like to crave your indulgence to please, pause a bit. We would like to take a pause from you at this time to move to our guest in the studio, who is a customer, who is a resident in Osun, Osogbo. We have with us this morning, Comrade Adetunji Ajala, who is the chairman of Future Alumni Association in Osun State and the current chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Osun State. Welcome on board, Comrade.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So I'd like to ask you, how has this, poor power supply affected you as a resident of Osun State, and I know you are also a business owner? How has it affected your business?
All right, thank you very much for inviting me to this program. And I want to say sincerely that in Osun State, for like 4 weeks ago, when we discovered that the epileptic supply was too much, and the complaint from people were too much on us, especially the youth constituency, we started on X, and we started to create to tag the IBEDC about the activities that if they don't do something to this, we are going to come to the office to lay complaint. I mean the youth, because of course, come to think of it, I'm in the agricultural value chain. I know when you buy a frozen, when you buy maybe meat and you try to put it in a refrigerator, you have light to take care of it. But however, 2 days you are not seeing light, electricity to power this thing, and it gets spoiled. Many people who are into this business have suffered, like in Osogbo, for example, like 4 weeks ago.
So when we discover that this is what is going on, and we put it on the X, it generated a lot of, people were pouring out their mind. And we also dragged the IBEDC that, come, we are not doing well. This is not Oshogbo that we used to know, especially. And other people within the neighboring, the metropolis within the Osun state started, also laying their own complaint. Now, all these band issue that we are talking about, band A, band B, band C, D, and E, if you look at it holistically, believe you me, it is not to say that they are given the right hour of electricity supply, as it may. Come to think of it, the band A, Wasimi area, Wasimi is on band A. And if you look at the people that are there, it is not as even some part of the Oshogbo that are on band C. And by the time you look at the supply of electricity in some of the areas, for example, even this Agbeleo that we are talking about, is it not on band A? And if you look at it, it's on band A. And do you have 20-hour supply of electricity at the minimum? Of course, no. From the feedback we got from people, as it may, as what it used to be before, I can tell you that we always have it. But come to think of it, after 3 days of that agitation on X, things change in Osun State. So people now begin to raise question and concern. What has happened? Before we raised that, generated like over 50,000 views on our X. So what has changed from what it used to be?
Comrade, because we are really in want of time, and I want the Senior Information Officer for IBEDC to answer to some of these and clarify, some of these concerns of yours. When you tagged IBEDC on X, did you get a response from them?
We did not, but the government responded.
The government of what government? Which one?
The Osun State government.
State government. But you didn't get a response from the IBEDC.
Yes. So I mean to say also that their response in terms of people's complaint is also not encouraging.
On site or online?
Both on site and online.
But did you approach their office on site?
Yes.
On site, as in their office?
Yes.
Okay. So
basically, when we sent our representative to drop a letter to them that we would like to know what has happened concerning the electricity, to explain to us, but we didn't get any feedback in that regard. That is one. Then two, it make us to go online to really make the yarning known to people. However, it's on when we are making the effort, we got to know that on 2 radio stations within Osun State, they always do the awareness and sensitization of everything about what is happening.
The IBEDC? The
IBEDC.
Okay.
So for you to tell you some of the moves that we have made in terms of the electricity supply in Osun State, as it may. So what we are saying is that it's not as if that if there is something happening in terms of, as she has rightly explained, that there is a gas shortage. It is expected of you to come and tell people that these are. For example, we have seen what happened outside the country. I've been to Japan and some other country. If there is going to be the electricity power outage, they will explain, they will give the information beforehand so that it will enable you to arrange yourself and prepare if you are doing business. So that will be better.
All right, comrade. Ms. Owoeye, we answer to that shortly. But we are being joined again by a consumer of the IBEDC product, of course, which is power, from Ilesha. Festus Oyekanmi is a business owner, lives there in Ilesha, and of course has his business there. Festus, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure you've been listening to the conversation, and I'd like to know, how has this affected you? We have been talking about Oshogbo. Is this the situation in Ilesha as well?
The situation of electricity, I think I don't want to go deep about it, but I think the government know what they are doing. Because I came across a tweet
Okay, I think connection is an issue there. We'll try and reconnect with Festus again. But Ms. Owoeye, are you still with us?
I'm here.
All right. You heard what the comrade has said, and I'm sure you'd like to clarify some stuff.
Are you with me, sir? Are you hearing me?
Okay, Ms. Owoeye, please pause so that you can just take these the concerns together. Yes, I'm trying to ask you, Festus, how has it affected you? What's the situation of power in Elisha? Quickly.
If I should rate it over 10, I would say 3 over 10. Because where I live here in Elisha, Ilaje streets, Ilaje area, we hardly have 3 hours in 24 hours of electricity. It is very, very poor. And I came across a tweet on Twitter that categorized that same Ilaje streets under Band A. So I was wondering, am I living in Japan or US? The last time I checked, we hardly, even if they break, as I'm speaking with you, I'm using power bank. Did they break? We did not have 2 hours. We don't have light at all over to the daybreak. So I wonder where why they categorize Band A, they categorize Ilaje under Band A. So I know the government know what they are doing.
All right. But in this particular case, we are speaking to IBEDC, not really government, because there should be distributors. From Oshogbo to Elisha, you've heard this concern. Ms. Owoeye, you'd like to respond?
I'll first want to respond to Comrade Ajala on his claim about that they went on Twitter. Yes, I would say we didn't see the Twitter thing and all of that. But before then, we've had different youth group, because I'm surprised we have a lot of youth group or association across Osun. There was a particular one.
Sorry, Mrs. Owoeye, did you say you saw, you said you saw the tweet, right?
I think I saw a Twitter, but I don't know if it's particularly his or the one he said they did.
All right, please go ahead.
I don't know the name of the own association, because we have a lot of youth forum that we've been engaging. There's a particular one that we have Konye, youth emancipation or something, that we had a meeting with them, and they said they are actually representing the old youth in Osun State. So we had an engagement with them when they actually were agitating about this power supply. So I think that was around March. And we also had a meeting with Atauja in recent times as well, whereby we engaged the KBSC and some of the stakeholders, the ballers of the Oshogbo land. And also, we had our own, we had different, aside our sponsored radio programs, we had different radio stations where we actually did the enlightenment about the poor power supply. And even on social media, as at January 24th, we came out with a public announcement about this issue that actually went on our different social media handle. Twitter, Facebook, and X to say, and all of that. So we had it all over, and even our contacts on WhatsApp, we send it out to them. So when he said because probably they came on Twitter, no. There has been a lot of talk, a lot of agitation, a lot of questions about it, and a lot of information. And before they came on board to actually agitate about it or to complain about it, there has been a lot of work going on about the power supply, and we've been informing the people about it. Like I said, the federal government, the stakeholders have been trying to see how they can actually rectify this issue, and which they are still doing. So kudos to him though, but the letter he said he dropped, I don't know if the particular office that dropped the letter to. If we can clarify and we can trace it, fine. Probably if it's the business hub or the regional office. Because we have a regional office in Osun here, and we have business hub for different business hubs in different locations where the regional office covers. We have Oshogbo, Elisha, Ikero, Ede, and Ile-Ife as well. So we have to know the particular place the letter was dropped to and why they didn't get the response. So about the Wasimi, he said Wasimi is not getting the band-aid they said they are getting. Wasimi, I want to know, is it Wasimi under Ikire, Ile-Ife, or a particular area in Osogbo here?
Comrade.
So I want to clarify about that. But if a customer is on 33 kV feeder, that means there is no way they won't be getting energy except there is a
Can you please say that again?
Because as a disco, we don't have a control over 33 kV.
So the Wasimi is in Ikire.
Is a TCN that has control over the 3.
Mrs. Owoeye, so you just said the Wasimi is in Ikire.
He said what? Wasimi
is in Ikire. The one in Ikire, yeah.
Okay, Wasimi, Ikire. Okay, Ikire is on band B. Ikire is on band B. Okay. So if he's talking about 33 kV, 33 is a major line. It's like having water supply that you're supplying water to and it's coming from the source. If the water is coming from the source, there is no way to go through the main pipe. That is what 33 kV feeder means. So if 33 kV energy is coming from TCN directly, then it will go through the 33 kV feeder. We don't have control over that. That is where electricity comes from before it gets to the 11 kV, which we control as a disco. And like I said, the issue of power supply is not from the disco. We distribute what we get every day to our customers from the GENCO through the TCN. So about Elisha, I don't think, sparingly, we don't really have majorly band A in Elisha. Elisha, we don't. I want Comrade Festus to please check very well that particular area you're talking about in Ilaje, to let us know. We don't majorly have band A in Elisha, majorly.
All right.
Okay.
It's good to know. Yeah. The reason why we have the consumers here is for you to have a feedback. And many of them, including the comrade here, represent a particular demography. And when they are speaking about what they are hearing, what they are feeling, what they are seeing, what that demography.
I appreciate that so much.
All right.
That's why I want to give a clarification so that when they're giving the feedback, we will be able to be on the same page. And another thing is, I want to sincerely apologize to our customers again. I will let Comrade Ajala to know that we empathize with all our customers that are going through this period as well. It's not like we are happy about it, because it's also a challenge for us, which we hope that this time will pass when everything is in place. We know that Osogbo definitely enjoys supply, and we want it to get back to that beautiful days that we used to enjoy. We also are customers in this in Osogbo too.
All right. Quickly, couple of questions. We still have like 5 or 6 questions, and quickly. The government announced the band A thing and the increase in tariff and the rest of it, although there are still questions about that. But I'd like to ask, why is it, and I'm talking from a personal experience, that over time, it seems like you have hiked, when I mean you, IBEDC, have hiked your tariff without announcement. And I'll give you an example. 3-4 months ago, if I vent for 5,000, I'm getting a particular unit. After that, maybe a month after, I'm vending the same 5,000 using, some of these, maybe Quick Teller or these bank apps. The same thing I've been doing, I'm getting a lesser one. A month ago, I do the same amount, I'm getting something lesser. Few days ago, and I'm telling you a personal experience, I vend the same amount and I'm getting something,
lower.
It seems whenever you just go online to vend, and the last time, I use your own particular, there is an app of the IBEDC, and I still got like something like maybe 15 or 14 units per 1,000 naira. And I'm asking, why are these things not announced? It appears that I'm being cheated in as much these announcements are not being made. There is no single vending that you do and you get the same unit, especially if there are days in between. What is happening?
I would like to explain that clearly. A personal experience. One, there are different factors, and I want to say we IBEDC don't just review our tariff without a go-ahead from more. There's something we call MITRE, that's a multi-year tariff order that has been set in place. It's like a roadmap. There's a set roadmap that we follow per time. Like the act you're talking about is called review. We call it review because from time to time there should be a review of our tariff to reflect the present market. That is what the MITRE is all about, the multi-year tariff order. But it's not like it's every month. One thing that I can pinpoint in your own claim is that, one, I want to know, is your meter, is it that when you got the meter, you were having a bill before then, and probably there is an outstanding on it? If there is an outstanding bill on it, and you got a meter, definitely it will be factored on that meter. And once it's factored on that meter, that means every vending, your part of your outstanding will be deducted, and the remaining remaining amount of money will be used to sell units to you. And don't forget, 7.5% of your VAT will be deducted as well. Secondly, if you, for instance, if you got your meter newly as a customer, we are expected to refund you through energy. That means every first time in the month when you vend, you are giving additional energy aside what you are actually vending. That is, we are refunding the amount you use in buying the meter. So the first time you vend in a month, you get additional energy. It's going to run for the space of 36 months. So every first time in the month that you vend, you get additional energy to what you have actually bought. But another time in that month, if you're buying energy, you will not get that value. It's just once in every month. So once you're buying at the beginning, at the first time in the month, you get additional energy to what you've bought. If you just got your meter, if you've bought your meter through MAP. So that is what can actually influence that. And if you're buying from different channels, say Quick Teller and all other, they could actually be deducting their commission from it as well. So those are the factors that could actually lead to the fluctuation in your unit cost when you get it at the end of the day.
All right, I'd like to ask, are there enough meters in Osun, especially in Osun, because people are saying they pay for meters, they don't get it. So we want to know if there are enough meters on ground for people, especially for those who have paid for so many years and they've not been able to get it.
For those who have paid many years ago, we always advise customers who have genuine evidences that they should come up with their teller and the bill they are receiving in that house where they want to get the meters from. For those, some of the customers that have presented that, they've been getting their meters, and we are still getting their evidences, which is their teller. In time past, experience has shown that there are some people that actually got dubious with that process, whereby we discover that some people will represent same teller most times to get a particular meter. So with that, we need to come up with different way to actually screen that. And the issue of metering, we don't give meters directly. Some companies have been saddled with that responsibility to provide meters. That is why we have different schemes, different rules. During that period that they actually said they paid for meters, they didn't get it. That was when we were on the scheme of CAPME. So when that ended, the federal government will always tell us every program we have to follow. Right now, we are doing a meter asset provider scheme, whereby our customer register online and get their meters once they make their payment and do all the technical evaluation and pass and do the verification and they get their meters. But presently, the portal is closed.
Okay.
The portal is closed. So for anyone that wants to get a meter should exercise patience till the portal is open. This is the reason why the portal is closed. We don't want the situation whereby customers will pay into the portal and they don't get their meter as at when due, and their money will just be lying fallow in our account.
We are pressed for time, Mrs. Owoeye. We are pressed for time.
To exercise patience.
I'm sorry, we have to quote you at this time. We're pressed for time. But before we let you go, Comrade Ajala, I don't know if you have any questions. We've asked a lot of questions from the Senior Communications Officer of IBEDC Osun Region. But I don't know if there are some concerns that she has not addressed from you. Very quickly, if you can do this in 30 seconds. Thank you very much.
It's rather unfortunate that the time is very, very short. But I just come to look at it holistically, looking at the impact of, the hike in price of people living in Band A. So if I have hospital in the area whereby we have Band A, and I'm paying 68 naira before, kilowatts per hour, and you have increased it to how much? 220, almost 230 with VAT. The implication of that is that the value of these services I'm going to render in terms of my product, I will also add it to it. There will be increments in all these values. So their implication on the economy is there. That is one. Then two, in terms of is money command variety, and in terms of values, where you are giving until we address the issues of how, if you are saying you are giving me 20 hours, we still need to go there. You are giving me 20 hours per day.
All right, comrade, trust us to still have this conversation again. And trust Mrs. Owoeye to oblige us. Maybe we do this periodically to address some of these concerns. We are seriously pressed for time. And Festus, can you still hear us? Okay. Ms. Owoeye, I'd like to take your part in short. And we appreciate if actually we can be having these conversations periodically, because many persons have complained. But yes, you bring out information on your X handle because that's where most of the conversations happen. But when you are attacked for questions, for clarification, you don't get to respond. Yet you are turning out information upon information. We know there are challenges. You have spoken to some of it that are being spoken to. But I'd like to take your part in short now, 15 seconds, and then we can have this conversation again, maybe in a few days or in a few weeks' time. Quickly.
Thank you very much. We want to assure our esteemed customers that we are committed that will be on the enhancing of the power supply, and we want to encourage them to please make their timely payment of their bill for what they have actually consumed. They should pay for what they have actually consumed. I want to apologize sincerely for all the inconveniences they've been actually experiencing over time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kikelomo Owoeye, the Senior Communication Officer for the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company in IBEDC Osun Region. We appreciate your time on the show this morning. All right, we also would like to appreciate Comrade Ajala Adetunji. There was not enough time for you to actually address this issue, but we know that in a few days, a few weeks, we will definitely call you back to speak to issues not only on the power sector, but also issues affecting the youth. You are a leader, one of the leaders of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, and would like to know what is happening with the youth, what the youth think about the government of the day, and how we can move forward as a people. But right now, we just have to thank you for coming and also making your grievances known on this particular matter. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, and that is the show this morning, people. Thank you for being a part of our world on Morning Spring. We'll make a return tomorrow for another interesting edition. You do not want to miss it. You can watch a recap of this show on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Connect with us on our different social media platforms on Instagram, X, and Facebook at Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei, and I say that Nigeria must work in our time.
God bless Nigeria. Femi Ojo is my name. Have a good day.